of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome the Gallatin High School Jazz Choir and Mrs. Maurer. Thank you very much for being here. And we have a brand new boardroom with not a great place for a choir, but I think this is going to work really well. So I'll let you take it. Thank you. That's great. Thank you very much. That was fantastic. Welcome to the December 9th Bozeman School District School Board meeting. Thank you for joining us. Public comment will be taken throughout the meeting on agenda and non-agenda items. During public comment, no member of the public will be allowed to comment on contested cases, other adjudicative proceedings, or personnel matters. The public portions of this meeting are being recorded in accordance with District Policy 1420 and Section 2-3-214 MCA. By remaining in this meeting, all participants and attendees acknowledge they may appear on the recording, which will be placed on the school district's website for a minimum of 1 year from today. Further instructions about participating will be provided throughout the meeting. Before we engage in the business of the board, I would like to share the core purpose of the Bozeman School District, which can be found on the back of our nameplates. It reads, Bozeman Public Schools exists to ensure high-level learning for all students. We will now move into agenda item 2.1, student representatives reports. We have Bridger, Bozeman, and Gallatin. So whomever would like to go first tonight, go for it. Great.
Hi, guys. You may have noticed that my muse, Griffin, is not here today. So I will try and keep this charismatic, but, you know, he helps with that. All right. So this month has been really great. If you recall, last month in November, we had talked about our upcoming MASC trip, or Montana Association of Student Councils. That was super fun. We took 9 kids from our student council. We learned a ton. We listened to a bunch of keynote speakers, learning about leadership. We participated in a lot of small group activities where we were able to build our cooperation as a student council. We learned how to tackle problems effectively, and we learned some surefire methods of running a smoother student council. That was super fun. And yeah, it was also super great for team bonding. I know I got to know all my fellow student council members a lot better on that trip, so that was amazing. Looking forward, we are looking at running a winter talent show next week. Next Friday, we're hosting our winter talent show, our student council winter talent show. We just had auditions after school today, which is super exciting. We get to show off all the unique little talents that our school has to offer that maybe they don't want to go on stage at Bozeman Night Live in front of a ton of people, but maybe they just want to show off for their friends here at school. It's a lot less serious, but we've got prizes to give to the winners. At our winter talent show, we announced the winners of our t-shirt competition, which have been chosen, so that's super exciting. The winner of the t-shirt competition will go on to, or their t-shirt design will go on to be used for next year and possibly years to come, being shot out of the t-shirt can and all that fun stuff. Next week, we've got a Winter Spirit Week planned, which is super exciting, you know, just getting the kids probably honestly excited to take a break from school, but you know, that is beside the point. We have our freshmen who we just elected to student council are working on teacher appreciation gifts, which is super exciting because that is just a project they thought up all on their own. We didn't prod them or pinch them or poke them in any way, we promise, to make that happen. They're just taking that initiative, so that's super exciting. And then we've also got within our own little student council a little bit of a secret Santa, just, you know, just to have a little bit of fun. And then looking at the sports report, I'll try and be fluid with this, but this is not my forte. This is why I have Griffin. Wrestling. We have a small team this year, but it means that wrestlers can get one-on-one attention with their coaches. This weekend, we have a tournament in Whitehall that will be a good chance for our team to know where they are at. The coach was also interviewed by the Bozeman Chronicle, so that's pretty cool, and you should check that out. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, and you should check that out. Basketball, our tryouts just finished for both boys and girls, and both boys and girls will be playing Helena this weekend. Swim, We have our new swim center that just got finished. That is super exciting, and our swim team is going to be off to a fantastic start. They haven't competed yet. And then our Bozeman High Yetings just started their bowling season, and I've been talking to some of our Yetis, and they seem very excited about it, which is super fun. Moving on to activities. We've got our speech and debate just took home second place overall at their most recent tournament. Charlie McGeehan won Humorous Interp for the third time in a row, super impressive. We also got first in policy debate and second in novice Lincoln and Douglas debate. Our Academic Olympics team got invited to nationals in New Orleans, so we're looking to raise money to hopefully go there, which would be super exciting. And our National Honor Society just completed its application reviews and sent out all the acceptance letters. So we're going to have an induction ceremony pretty soon there. And that's all I've got for you guys today.
Thanks, Truman. Any questions for Truman from Bozeman High School? Who would like to go next?
Just like Truman, my supposed muse, I guess, Laszlo is out tonight. We have our NHS induction ceremony tonight, and he's helping out with that while I'm here. So I just have a bit to go over. Gallatin students, like always, are excelling in academics and sports across the board. And I'm just here to highlight some impressive achievements our students have done over this past month, and then stuff we're looking forward to in the future. So starting out with sports and activities. To close out our fall sports season, our Raptor football finished in top 4 in the state after an incredible season and is really pushing forward and showing a program that is growing and really going to be a main competitor for years to come. Our volleyball team closed out an incredible season, losing only one game and winning a state championship. Truman, who did we beat in the state final?
Let's just move on.
We beat Bozeman, if that wasn't clear, so it's pretty sweet. Winter sports-wise, speech and debate's really doing great. Our team has placed a high of 4th this season, so we're really building, and we're sticking to our process, and our team is growing rapidly, so come state, we'll be ready to compete and really be successful. Girls and boys swimming is building, and they're building towards their first couple meets. Girls and boys wrestling is doing the same. And girls and boys basketball also finished their tryouts and are starting to build towards their first games of the season. So across the board, our winter sports are looking to be pretty successful, and are just going to continue building and growing and showing off our Raptor spirit. So activity-wise, we got results for All Northwest on honors music ensembles. And from Gallatin High School, the orchestra is sending 5 members, so it's really another sign of excellence on part of our musicians at Gallatin High School. And I believe the choir is sending a couple members as well. So all in all, our musicians are really working hard and trying to show excellence not only statewide but also at a regional level. With All Northwest combining 5 states, that being Washington, Oregon, Alaska, Idaho, and Montana. So it's really good that our Montana musicians are putting in the time and bringing their excellence to a regional stage. AA choir wrapped up for our school, and it was a great success. And I know many of my peers in choir said that it was really great combining with the school they combined with, and it was just a great experience and another example of how excellent and focused our school is on music. We just had our Model UN conference in Missoula, and it was a great success, with many of our participants placing decently high within the competition itself, but also just a great success for our program, which is just in its 2nd year and really building towards being a prominent Model UN chapter within the state. A really big activity that we had over this past month was the food drive put on by Stuco and Key Club. For the 4th straight year, we beat Bozeman in our crosstown competition, but we raised 2,800 pounds total from Gallatin High School, which is 2,000 more than Bozeman High School. Mr. Rhodes' class had 1,200, and then combined we had 2,000. We had over a ton combined between Gallatin and Bozeman. So it's really just showing that both of our schools are committed to building a community and putting our position as students and leaders towards better places and trying to make Bozeman just a better place. But absent of the competition, it's always just great collaborating with Bozeman High School. And while we recognize that they may be our rivals in some things, it's always great just trying to build a bigger, better Bozeman community. Stuco-wise, we will be having a pickleball tournament next week, just again trying to build Raptor spirit and, as Truman said, try and, I guess, get our students' minds a little bit away from school and give them a tiny bit of break before winter break and then final season. So we're going to be having a pickleball tournament. It's going to be held in the gym. There's going to be prizes. There's like a buy-in. It's going to be single elimination, and it's looking to be pretty successful with a decent number of signups already. And hopefully we continue to do these sorts of these activity type events with like flag football and ultimate frisbee within the spring and summer seasons. Then we will also be having Winter Spirit Days with next week on Wednesday having a holiday office party theme, Thursday having a pajamas theme, and on Friday having an ugly sweater day with a competition/contest in the auditorium. Again, just trying to build some holiday cheer and give our students a much-deserved break. Then, moving past the Stuco stuff, Laszlo Baumgartner has been representing Gallatin High School Stuco and Gallatin High School at statewide education conferences, which is, again, just really a sign of excellence within our students and a willingness to participate in things that are extra, like curricular, and just to try and help the Bozeman community and the overall Montana community. So it's really good just seeing our student leaders in these sorts of places. NHS induction is tonight, and NHS will be inducting 70 new members for this next year, which is really big, and it's really just showing a new program again that's undergoing growth at a rapid rate, and just showing that our students have a high they're very committed to excellence and academics. Then we also had our Key Club Kiwanis pancake breakfast last Saturday, with many of our Key Club members saying it was a great success and a very enjoyable time to just help out the Bozeman community. And then for music-wise, we'll be having our Winter Gala concert on the 19th of December. So if you guys do want to come support our Gallatin High School Wind Ensemble, Philharmonic Orchestra, and choir, please do come by. I think tickets are $10, so it will be a really great time, just again trying to showcase our students' excellence. Then on Wednesday this week, we will be having Leadership of Bozeman from the Chamber of Commerce. And they will be at Gallatin High School for tours and just discussions about public school and high school in general. So tours will begin at 10:45 in the Commons, and then through 1 p.m. And we'll have a set of student leaders helping out with that and helping missionate with that, just trying to showcase what Gallatin High School represents, and then also what being in high school at Gallatin High School entails. Then lastly, we also went to the MASC conference with Bozeman. Again, it's always great collaborating with them. Our students, our Stuco leaders, learned a lot of valuable lessons, and then also just how to make our Stuco more efficient and better utilize the resources that we have to A, help our community, but B, just make more engaging activities for students. So that's why we're just trying to focus on building the community, and we've learned a lot of ways to do that from the MASC conference. But we will be hosting the Regional District 5 conference in March. So this will be the first time that Gallatin High School will be hosting it, and hopefully it will be a good success with many of our district peers, fellow schools coming to Gallatin High School for that. And then also another big Stuco success is that we have one of 2 Montana delegates for the United States Senate Youth Program. So it's again really just showing excellence on part of Gallatin High School academically. That's about it.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Pranshu from Gallatin? Lauren.
I always appreciate everybody's rundown on your schools, and I look forward to hearing from you, George. Pranshu, you're really good at singing everybody else's praises. Who is the delegate for USSYP?
It's me.
Okay. You're very good at singing everybody else's praises, and I'm very impressed with what you've accomplished. And so I wanted to acknowledge you as well.
Thank you.
George.
Hi, trustees. I'm George. I'm out Neil Award today, which is the brains of the operation, so you're going to be stuck with the muse. So all of you may or may not expecting this, but we're going to talk about our Thanksgiving celebration, which I hope most of you went to. Yes, hopefully y'all didn't hide at home. We were unsure if it was one of the biggest turnouts. We did have to configure our tables a little different, and we did use every every chair that Bridger had available to us in that room, which that's pretty good. And we're doing something like that for Christmas, except it's going to be something similar to what we did on Halloween, where we're going to have a smaller get-together with some food, some games. Miss Vidmar is going to come down next week with a couple Hawk Times set up, and the Bridger chapter of her art class to come decorate our community room. For our logo design, it's coming to an end. It's going to end sooner faster than y'all know it, but we only have we have a couple of options, and we're soon going to go into voting after we get our last submissions in. And what we're going to have on the Friday of Christmas break, our Thanksgiving to get together, is a Bridger brunch. We're not entirely sure of what food we're going to serve, but we're going to try and make it festive, going to make it fun, probably bring in some candy canes, some peppermint, some that horrible pie that everyone makes. That one with the fruit, I can't remember it. And we're trying to diversify. Not a lot of you may know this, but Bridger not only owns one Nintendo, 2 Nintendos, but 3 Nintendo Switches, which I don't know how we fund this. I'm not sure if they're donated or we just have them lying somewhere, but we're doing a lot of Mario Kart stuff for Hawk Time. We're doing some decoration stuff in the future, and whatever our counselor RD and our teacher leader Miss Powell decides would be a good idea to do, and what we as a community want to do, because we get a lot of say in what we get in our Hot Times. Similar to what we did last month, where we went across a couple of high schools to induct people, we're going to do that to the middle schools. So Powell and RD this month are going to go through Gallatin and Sacagawea and Headwaters and Anderson soon to convince people that Bridger might not be the worst idea out there. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Any questions for George from Bridger? We appreciate the reports. As usual, you all are welcome to stay all meeting or otherwise. So thank you for coming. Up next, item 2.2, recognitions and awards, 2024 cross-country state championship teams, individual state champion, and all-state individuals. Mr. Ader, hit the button and make the mic green, please.
Good evening, board members. We had a great fall at Bozeman High and Gallatin High. Our teams did exceptionally well, and we're going to be honoring them hopefully for the next few board meetings tonight. We'll start off with cross country. I'm going to introduce first Casey Germain to talk about Bozeman High, and then Graydon Curry to talk about Gallatin High.
Coach, bring your kids up with you if you would, please.
Yeah, if I could get the boys team and then girls come on up. You just kind of like fan in this area. Yeah. Okay.
You guys can come to the center so we can not have you hiding behind the columns.
Yeah. Nice try. Guys good? All right. Okay, I'll start off with the ladies team. The ladies finished second at state as a team. The 3 young ladies to my right here earned all-state recognitions. We had Lucy Erickson finishing 11th just as a freshman, which is very impressive. Tula Higman finishing in 5th, and Kylie Neal finishing in 4th. Great thing about Tula and Kylie, both sophomores. So the 3 of these young ladies finishing all-state, just being sophomores and freshmen, is really promising looking forward. Obviously, Gallatin got the win this year, which was really awesome. I've been waiting 5 years for that day to happen when both Bozeman schools go 1-2. Before the split, I used to always hear that Bozeman was favored because we had one high school and it was an unfair advantage. So it was pretty awesome to walk up to Coach Curry, shake his hand, and walk off the state scene with 2 trophies coming to Bozeman along with our guys. So congratulations, ladies. Awesome season. Job well done. And this will not be the last time we hear these 3 in this room for sure. I'll touch on the guys. The guys team here on my left, state champions. The guys finishing in all-state were Miles Halverson in 7th, Christian Landers finished in 6th, and Taylor Neal finishing in 2nd to earn all-state honors. Mimicking the girls, the guys, we have 1 lone senior. Sorry, Drake. Kind of raise your hand there. Drake is our 1 lone senior on the guy side. So for the varsity team, we only lose 1 girl and 1 guy on the program this year. So very promising on the guy side. I think this year on the guy side, it was pretty impressive. It was one of those years where it was all kind of about a team. It was a real team effort. You saw a lot of shuffling with places on the team as they competed throughout the season, and it kind of seemed like if one guy had an off day, the other guys were there just to kind of lift the team up, and you saw that throughout the entire season, which was really impressive. I will say I think it's probably one of the quietest van rides I've ever had with this team on the way to state. I kind of noticed that driving over, they were pretty locked in, pretty focused, which was pretty neat to see. I think for them, it was kind of a business trip heading over to state, and they got the job done. So congrats, fellas. Nice job.
Thanks, Coach. Any trustee questions? Seeing none. Lauren.
First of all, congratulations. And I also want to say that I know some of you, and not only are you phenomenal runners, but you're also phenomenal students and people in the community. So thank you for all you do. And I just was going to ask the seniors, I actually know where Drake's going because his mom just told me, but will the seniors just tell us what their plans are if they have them? Oh, yeah, you don't have a girl, do you?
Sure. Would you guys mind kind of shifting so all the trustees can see you and your backs are not to some of them? Thanks, guys.
Sorry, Drake, I put only you on the spot. I forgot there's not a senior girl, so just you.
You're good. Hi, everybody. I'm Drake. My plan for next year is I'm going to run for Colgate.
And we're real excited for you.
It's very cool.
And then Annie, our lone senior on the girls' side, is going to Carroll College to run. So she'll be running at Carroll next year.
Well, if no other trustees are going to help me out, I guess it's all on me here. All right. Well, congrats, everyone, on the boys' team. It's just been so fun to see you all develop this competitive culture since the days of kind of Weston and Nathan picking this team back up after the high school split, and then you guys really embracing that culture. And it's a real healthy, competitive kind of common goal culture you guys have going. And there's a good 3 or 4 or 5 of you that are going to be gunning for that individual title next year, and way bigger things for your team, I think, than state. So keep on keeping on. I wish Brandlin were here tonight, but I know he has basketball. But congratulations to you guys. It was really fun to see you win state this year and crush Helena High. So great job. You don't have to. I'm not quite done with you, so you can all come right back up. You're not excused. And Lucy and Tula, can you come to where everyone can see you so they know who you are? And Kylie, if you guys want it, I am no cross country coach and track coach, but if you guys want it, you two have a huge future in this sport, from the standpoint of student athlete and things like getting tuition paid for in college and things like that. And so keep on keeping on. And if not for a couple stress fractures to a couple freshmen, that crosstown might have gone the other way, but nobody heard me say that. So congratulations, guys. It was just so fun to watch you develop this year and improve and hit PRs. And I think next year is going to be a really huge post-state for you all as well, with the depth you have coming in and what you've maintained and built. So congratulations. Thanks for coming tonight. And so, again, you're not excused because we have an award to read, but I think first we're going to bring the Gallatin teams up. So you can go sit down, but just don't leave the room quite yet. Coach Curry. Come on up where we can see you all.
This on?
It's great. Yep, it's on.
Casey said this is just like a courtroom. I told him I didn't know what that felt like, but I will trust him and his judgment. He gives me advice all the time, so I'm just gonna believe him on that one. Want to say thank you, first of all, for having us up here. It's really an honor to be up here. Very, very lucky and fortunate to have these athletes on our squad. In particular, want to say a few words about our senior girls, who this is year 3 or 4 for all 3 of our senior girls. Allie Coy, where are you at, Allie? Over here. Isabel Ross, right here. And then Claire Rutherford over here. It's kind of crazy when your freshmen and sophomores are your hardest workers. And we have seen that from especially these 3 for 3 or 4 years for all of them now. So to have that, and then also to have them be the most disciplined runners on our team, it just set the stage, and we could kind of feel this growing and growing and growing for the last 4 years. So very, very fortunate to have that. And we're seeing it again. We're seeing it repeat with Mr. Bridger Warner over here, who was All-State this year. Same thing on the boys' side. And these young girls who have not run, some of them, cross-country before, they just bought in. And it was really, really cool to see that. Lila Caro ended up All-State 11th place as well. Lauren Weaver was very, very close. We got Avery Childry here with us, Finley Samuels as well. And I guess Lila Pritham didn't make it, Julie didn't make it. But really cool to have that leadership from our kids. Trying to think what else I want to share with you guys. That's pretty much sums it up. These guys do all the work. They put it in. We've got the training plan for them, but they're the ones that have to execute it. They're the ones that have to put in the miles. They have to trust the process, trust the efforts we tell them to go at. And we tell a lot of our young kids the hardest thing to do as a runner, because they're all AP, hardworking, hard at it kids, is to actually run easier than they feel like they should. They want to go hard every day. And we tell them almost every single run to go slower than what they're doing. So that makes our job nice and simple. So you guys are awesome.
Gallatin Raptors state champs. Congratulations, you guys. That was great. Yeah. Any trustee questions for the Raptors? Well, we have a 3-time state champ right here in Claire Rutherford. I would think you're probably going to win Gatorade. Time will tell. I don't know who else would.
I would say if it's not her, it's this gal here who's been 2-time runner-up.
Izzy came in right behind Claire sophomore and senior year. It's really fun to see you do that again this year, Izzy. You know, I've been watching you guys run for 4 years, and these last 3 years, Claire, you would show up at the beginning of the season, maybe get 3rd, 4th, 5th, and some of those really meets. You would start to give some of the girls around the state some hope. And then those last 1, 2, and 3 races, including state, you would crush everyone's dreams, and you would win. And you've established yourself as one of the all-time greats in Montana, and that's quite a list to be on when you go down to Bozeman High School and look at decades of Gatorade winners down there. And you've got it twice at Gallatin High School, and you're a 3-time state champ. So you've set the tone for these girls, and it was so rewarding to watch you all, after not quite getting over the hump as a team those last 2 years, get that first place this year. So I'm just really happy for you all, and you can credit your coach, Graydon, for establishing that culture, and congratulations. It was really fun to watch you all. So, and Bridger, you squeaked in. You didn't squeak in. You were an all-state, legitimate all-state, and then you beat all the Bozeman boys in the Santa Run 2 days ago. And I think you took a $500 pot. Is that correct?
I did, but my mom
You got a cooler. So you beat everyone in the race, won $500, and your mom got one of those Yeti coolers. It's a pretty good day for your house.
Yes.
And without any training.
All right, well, congratulations to the Raptors. Let's bring, you guys, I'll stay where you are. Let's bring the Hawks back up and coaches, and we will read the award. Maybe kind of squeeze in a little bit. Is it Trustee Moran?
Congratulations to all of you. I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Bozeman High and Gallatin High cross-country teams participated in the 2024 State AA cross-country meet in Missoula on October 26, 2024, and whereas the Gallatin girls team finished as state champions. Team members include Avery Childry, Allie Coy, Lila Caro, Lila Prittman, Isabel Ross, Claire Rutherford, Finley Samuels, Julie Wallash, and Lauren Weaver. And whereas the Bozeman High boys team finished as state champions. Team members include Brandlin Foote, Drake Frick, Miles Haverson, Christian Landers, Taylor Neal, Jacob Posden, Owen Powell, Callahan Waters, and Waylon Watkins. And whereas Claire Rutherford finished as the AA Girls State Champion, and whereas earning all-state honors by finishing in the top 15 are from Bozeman High School, Lucy Erickson in 11th, Miles Halverson 7th, Tula Higman 5th, Christian Landers 6th, Kylie Neal 4th, Taylor Neal 2nd, and from Gallatin High, Lila Caro 12th, Isabel Ross 2nd, Claire Rutherford 1st, and Bridger Warner 14th. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor the 2024 Gallatin High Girls State Championship cross-country team. Avery Childry, Allie Coy, Lila Caro, Lila Prithman, Isabel Ross, Claire Rutherford, Finley Samuels, Julie Willack, and Lauren Weaver.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Moran, seconded by Trustee Reinhardt. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Congratulations. If we could have you all meet in the hallway to have a picture with Trustee Moran, please. And thank you very much for coming, and thanks to all the families for coming tonight. And congratulations again. So, thank you guys. Yep, thanks. I wonder why she actually brought that cooler to the board meeting. Oh, she probably picked it up here. Oh. Yeah, he crushed all the Bozeman boys. All the Bozeman boys showed up and wanted to win that thing. Up next, item 2.2.2, 2024 AA Soccer State Championship Team and all state individuals. Mr. Ader.
Hello, board members. I'm going to bring our coaches up tonight. I am missing the boys' coaches for Bozeman High and Gallatin High. So I'm going to ask that Leo, come on up. Oliver and Zeke, come on up. Oliver's not here, is he? All right. Just real quick here. First of all, the Bozeman High soccer team came off a state championship last year, which Leo was a member of, and this year they made it to the quarterfinals. They lost to Hellgate. Leo is a center back. Leo did not have great offensive stats because of his position. He was known for his defensive prowess. Leo is a above average student, 3.9 plus student, will be going into engineering, and is a student who does exceptionally well at Bozeman High and is known for being a good kid inside and outside the classroom. Oliver, who did not make it here tonight, Oliver is a senior and a 3-time All-State player for Gallatin High. Oliver was coming off an injury at the beginning of the season. I believe he was in a trampoline accident, if I remember right, when I was at practice, and I was giving him grief about it. He became eligible to play and had a great impact on the team. He led the team with passion and competitive nature that pushes you forward. Oliver's love for the game will be missed by Gallatin High, and we wish him the best of luck. These are words from Coach Furstenberg. Zeke, a junior, finished the season as an All-State Eastern Conference Player of the Year. With 35 goals, Zeke led the way for GHS to finish as Eastern Conference champions and move into the semifinals for the second year in a row. Zeke focuses on leadership outside of soccer as well. We look forward to seeing what he does as a senior. Should mention that Gallatin made it to the semifinals 2 years in a row and lost in heartbreaking, gut-wrenching fashion. Soccer, when they say life isn't fair, soccer is a definite representation of that if you've been there. But Gallatin was an extremely fun team to watch this year. So here are our boys, all-state players for the Bozeman High and Gallatin High.
Excellent.
I will now bring up, sorry about that, head coach for the Gallatin girls, Joel Gainey, and then he'll be followed by Bozeman High coach Erica Cannon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mr. Rader. If you guys would like to just maybe stay up here while we, yeah, thanks. Welcome, Coach Joel. Thanks for coming.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. I can talk about these guys, too, if you want.
If you know something about them, we'd love to hear it.
They're great kids, great players, super fun to watch them all season. The crosstown games are definitely super fun as well. Always competitive. Yeah, so I'm sure they're bummed on how the season's ended, but I'm super proud of them. I thought it was super fun to watch, so yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Girls side for Gallatin, we had...
Could I interrupt you, Joel? Sure. Could you bring your kids up? Are they're in the room, I assume, right?
I have Kira.
You have Kira. Excellent. Bring up Kira
Kira's got my
Tsukamoto.
back. Yeah. Thanks, Kira.
Trying to hide back
Yeah.
there, Kira?
Yeah.
We're here to honor you, so step forward a little bit so everyone can see you.
So girls had a great season. We made it to the final and lost to Bozeman. And if you're going to lose to a team, you want to lose to a good team. And Bozeman is a very good team with great coaches and great players. And I think that was super fun. And actually, the last 3 years, the champion has been either us or Bozeman, so that's also fun. We were also in the final the year before that, so that makes 3 finals for us in 4 years. Pretty cool. Kira has been in 2 of those finals, so she's won one, and now you experience losing one as well. I think it's good character building. We had kind of a little bit of an up and down season, but continued to get results all season long, and I think that is a testament to the character of the players. At times, it felt like herding cats and getting them together. But when we got together and we played together as a team, it was brilliant. So super fun to watch them. Kira had a great season, played mostly outside back for us, a little bit of center mid too. Had 9 assists, 10 assists. Sorry, Kira. And one goal. I got that one right. Okay. Which is really, really tough to do, I think, from the outside back position. So she gave us a lot, contributed a lot on the attack from outside back, but also was huge for us defensively. I think especially going against teams like Bozeman, and there are a couple other teams like West that have really good, crafty wingers, and Kira kind of shuts them down and does really well. So Kira is also a junior. Super excited to have her for another season, so pumped on that. Do you want me to talk about the others as well briefly, or?
Your all-state players. Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah. So we had Emery as well. Emery, I think this was her second year with all-state honors. She was the leading goal scorer for, I think, the second season in a row. She had 27 goals, 9 assists, which ties her, I think, on points with Maya back here that you'll hear from later. And they were the 2 top point-getting players in the state this year. Cambry Peterson was our other all-state player, kind of Emery's partner, and she had, I think, 18 or 19 goals and 17 assists, so a ton of assists. And both of them were huge to our attack, and we had kind of a pretty exciting attack in a lot of games. So, but definitely a good defense too. don't have much else to say unless you guys have any questions, but it was a great season, and looking forward to continuing the dominance of Bozeman high schools in soccer for years to come.
Thanks, Joel. That was great. Any trustee questions? We'll take questions for boys and Kira. Kevin.
Are you guys seniors?
I
Just
am,
one?
yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and I'm a junior.
You're a junior? Okay, all right. And you're a junior? Yeah, I got that. What's your plans for next year?
I am planning on attending college, most likely going into mechanical engineering, but I'm not exactly sure where I want to attend yet.
How many seniors on your team, Kira?
I think we had 9, yeah, so a couple less than Bozeman.
Yeah.
But still a lot, yeah.
Lauren?
I just also wanted to say it was a lot of fun watching you all play. You are a solid center back, very fun to watch. Zeke, you are very composed, and it's fun to watch you pump up your team when it's needed, and you have great charisma out there. And Kira, my daughter, really looks up to you as a player. And I think you are amazing on and off the field. And so I wanted to say that. And then remarking on your comment, Joel, about how many amazing soccer players we have in this community. I know that Greg and I talked after the state final, and it is so phenomenal to see this high level of soccer at 2 schools. And like I said, it's on and off the field. So thank you to your coaches and your families and everybody supporting you. But what a great accomplishment to have our schools up there and you guys representing us.
Ditto. Yeah, that state championship game was so fun to watch. Congratulations, Kira, for that great season that you guys had. And I was at your semifinal. That was a huge heartbreak. But you guys left it all out there, and you had a really, really great season. How many games did you win? All of them except for one that was a tie until the very last game, I think. Yeah.
Conference champions, right? First place.
Yeah. So anyway, congratulations, all state honors, and don't go anywhere. We're going to honor the Bozeman girls, and then we'll get together for a reading of the award. So thanks, Joel. Yeah. Coach Erica, don't forget your kids.
Not as many could make it. Some were at tournaments this weekend, I guess, and are trying to get back out of middle school.
No problem. Oh, yeah, and there's a button to make that mic live. I think it's the one on the right. Yep, thank you.
Now can you hear me?
We could hear you before, but
Better?
now we hear you. Now
Okay.
everybody else can hear you.
I use my coach voice, sorry. All right, well, thank you so much for having us here. We first wanted to thank our community, parents, students, and administrators for the support of our program. Our success was supported greatly by all of you cheering us on, donating to our program, and we definitely felt the support during the season and after, I guess, as well. It's my honor to introduce our state championship team, along with our all-state players, Lucy Alchokachi. Let's see, Lucy's right here. Make you, Maya Bossenbrook, right there. Hadley Brown, where are you? And Mia Edwards, and Carly Jordan. And I'm going to talk about them in a second, just a little bit more. And then I just want to introduce our team. So our team was undefeated this season with a record of 15-0-2. We won back-to-back state titles. And not only were we undefeated this season, but we were also undefeated last season, which I don't know if I've ever had a team do that. We did win 3 in a row one time, but we, way back when, way before these guys maybe were just being born. But we didn't win as many. We lost a couple in the midst of those seasons. We had 20 consecutive games with wins, no ties, between the two seasons. This is also the 10th state championship for Bozeman High, and that's the most state championships for any school in AA soccer. I guess it was also last year, I think, but we're racing the boys Hellgate team, although they're falling behind, I guess. The team scored a total of 80 goals this season. That is the most in Hawk history. We had only 4 goals against this season, which is also the most in Hawk history, and 14 shutouts, which I think ties the record for the most shutouts in the state, as well as a Hawk record. Let's see. We are super excited to introduce these guys. So let me just introduce our all-state players. Lucy, you got to come up here so they can see you. Okay. Lucy was a senior captain this year. This is her 3rd All-State award, and she scored a couple crucial goals this year against Gallatin twice and against West away, which were kind of our big rivals this year. Lucy had 14 goals and 11 assists for 39 points this season and finished her high school career with 28 goals and 18 assists for 74 points. She was academic all-state and volunteers with Special Olympics and went on a Tanzania exchange and does all sorts of other awesome stuff. So she's awesome. Let's do Hadley. Yeah, you gotta stand up there. This is Hadley. She played midfield for us. She's a 2-time All-State midfielder. Hadley never stops running and inspiring our team with her unrelenting drive to win and help her team. I can't say enough about how she's just like a workhorse. She just never stops. And she has so much positive energy that really drove our team this season. Hadley scored 6 goals and had 1 assist just in our 3 playoff games. That's a new record for Bozeman High School, really clutch in our playoffs. She scored 3 goals versus Glacier in the quarterfinals, 2 goals versus West, and a goal in the final versus Gallatin. She had 15 goals, 7 assists on the season for 37 points, and had a career 23 goals, 18 assists for 64 points. She was also academic all-state and volunteers at retirement home, or is that right? Or like a? I work there. Yeah, she works there. I think it's volunteer, but she works there. I guess you get paid. I do. That's good also. All right, Mia Edwards. This is Mia. She's an all-state center back. This is her first season, although last year we thought maybe we were missed on that as well. Mia is a huge part of our back line that gave up only 4 goals against all season. As I said, 14 shutouts. She also scored an incredible goal versus Senior this year, where she dribbled all the way from midfield and basically dribbled the entire team and scored a goal because she used to be a forward, and I think she really wanted to score. She had a fantastic assist to Lucy versus Gallatin the first time we played them. Mia has a 3.9 GPA. She plans on attending art school and playing soccer and hopefully running track. And she also volunteers at the Heart of the Valley. And she's academic all-state, which 3.9, yeah. Okay, Carly Jordan. Carly is a 3-time All-State goalkeeper as well. This is her 3rd. Carly has the most shutouts in Hawk history with 14. That ties the state record as well for the shutouts, I think. She was crucial this year, although she didn't see a ton of action. When she did, she always stepped up. I know in the final she had a couple scary ones with it being wet, and she did a great job of keeping teams out of the net and also just directing our back line. I think she did a really great job of kind of helping keep us organized, and she distributes the ball out of the back, which starts our attack. And I think she even had an assist this year. Yeah, she had an assist. All right. And Carly has, did I mix that up? No, she has a 3.95 GPA. She volunteers with Special Olympics. She also attended the Tanzania exchange, and she's hoping to attend the Coast Guard Academy and play soccer or an academy of some sort. Yeah. Okay. I'll let you guys talk too. And then we have Maya Bossenbrook. Come on up. Maya this is her second All-State, is that right? Second year All-State. She was named All-State. She was also named Eastern Conference Player of the Year, and then just recently was voted Montana Player of the Year by the coaches in the state. That's a really big honor. We hope that she'll be Gatorade Player as well, but that doesn't happen until almost the summer of next year, for next year. She had 24 goals and 15 assists for 63 points this year. Let's see. She also had 3 goals and 3 assists in our playoffs in our 3 last games. This is her 24 goals is the second most in a single season, only behind Alexa Coyle and ahead of Avery Collins, who played in the NWSL. So that's not too shabby. She ties the record for assists in a season with 15. And that's for the Hawks. And let's see, career points. She has 46 goals, 34 assists for 126 points. Maya is now tied with former University of Utah captain Allie Wisner for the most career assists in Hawk history. And she's second in career points with 1 less year played varsity, only behind Avery Collins. So it's pretty impressive. Maya also has a 4.0 GPA, academic All-State, volunteered at the HRDC, sorting and organizing clothes, and also worked with Special Olympics. She is going to Eastern Washington, I should have let you guys say this, to play soccer and major in music therapy. Is that right? Did I get it right? Yes. I did want to say that our team had 11 seniors, really 12. We had a manager that wasn't able to play this year. And combined with, Kira actually played with a lot of this group from Gallatin, and so it's kind of a cool, I really think we should have taken a picture at that final. I meant to get a picture of all of us. We didn't even get a picture of all of our team, so we kind of messed up. But I think it was the rain. But it was just a really cool thing to have both teams in the final. I think it shows a lot of strength in Bozeman, and as I think some people have said, that when we split, everybody thought that now we would be put in our place, and I think we kind of showed everybody that we have double the power. So I was really proud of these guys. Our 12 seniors did such a great job. From most of them, some of them were on varsity as freshmen, and almost all of them were on varsity as sophomores, and they've just been great leaders all the way through. And I think that if you ask any of the younger players, they would tell you that they are great role models for them and really nurturing and helpful. And I think that that made all the difference for our team this year. And last, and I just thank you for taking the time to honor these students. I also forgot, I should probably just, since we only have like 2 other players, we have Bella Robinson and Haley Tobin. These guys are sophomores, so we have lots of good young players coming up. We also had, I think, 2 or 3 juniors and 2 or 3 freshmen. Can't even count now. So we do have some players coming up. We had a really strong JV team that we expect will be filling lots of spots here, unfortunately. But
That was amazing, Erica.
Yep,
Thank you
thanks.
very much.
sorry it was so long.
No, that was all really incredible, actually. Any questions for these kids? Tanya?
I have one for Maya. Majoring in music therapy. Can you tell us what was the motivation for choosing that? Usually seniors are pretty undecided. So if Coach said that and it's not true, that's okay too. But I'm interested in hearing more about that.
I've always just been really into music, I guess, and I played the piano since a really young age, and I've always been in choir and love singing, and so I'd say that's my second really big passion next to soccer. And I learned about music therapy a couple of years ago, and I just thought it was really cool, and I love helping people. So that's what I decided, but I either want to be a teacher or a music therapist, so or one of those two, or maybe.
Coach Erica, what year is this for you?
This was 29.
And those 10 state championships, how many of those were you a part of?
8.
Well, thanks for doing this for these kids.
Thanks.
For 3 decades.
It's fun.
It's amazing.
I couldn't do it if it wasn't fun, right?
Well, they couldn't do it without you, so.
Oh, and I also forgot to introduce my assistant coach, Jack Stoddart's back here.
Is Jack back there?
I couldn't get him to come up.
Jack, you
But
can come up.
He's been with me
late,
for many of these state championships as well. Almost all of them.
He's going to sit back there
For
and
the first maybe 2 or 3, but.
Mr.
And I couldn't
Stoddart's-
do it without him.
He's a humble guy back there.
And his son actually coached with us this year as an assistant coach as well, so that was pretty fun. And he also was a Bozeman Hawk that played soccer, so it's kind of fun. All in the family.
Well, congratulations to you. I know that there was some pressure on you after last year when you had so many seniors coming back. I don't know what that was like to have a year of pressure, and that final game was a nervous one there for a while, but you answered the bell, and that's pretty special to win 2 of them in a row. So let's bring the Gallatin kids back up, and we will read the honor. And Bozeman boy, yes, thank you. Trustee D.
Thank you, and I just want to reiterate what I said to the other soccer players, to the girls. It was amazing to watch you this season, and each of you are amazing people on and off the field. And Erica, I was not going to age us and ask how long you'd been around, but I was also wondering about the state championships. That's amazing, but not surprising. You are building you've built a great program over there. Congratulations to all of you, and I look forward to seeing what you do in the future, whether you are younger and going to be here again next year, or what you go on and do after high school. I have the honor of giving this award today. I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution, whereas the Bozeman High and Gallatin High boys and girls soccer teams qualified for the 2024 AA state playoffs, and whereas the Bozeman High girls team finished as state champions. Team members include Lucy Alchokachi, Lauren Barkholtz, Maya Bossenbrook, Hadley Brown, Bryn Claiborne, Kaylee Connor, Sophie Corbett, Cheyenne Darling, Mia Edwards, Carly Jordan, Ella Lee, Lily McSpadden, Meg Murphy, Macy Primrose, Isabella Robinson, Reese Scholl, Natalie Spalding, Callis Rucker, Taylor Thomas, Haley Tobin, Bryn Wilson, and Emma Weichman. And whereas earning first team All-State honors were Bozeman High's Lucy Alchokachi, Maya Bossenbrook, Hadley Brown, Mia Edwards, Leo Fields, Carly Jordan, and Gallatin High's Oliver Betcher, Zeke Layton, Cambry Peterson, Emery Streets, Kira Tsukamoto, and whereas Bozeman High's Maya Bossenbrook and Gallatin High's Zeke Layton were named Eastern AA Players of the Year. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor the 2024 Bozeman High Girls State Championship Soccer Team, Lucy Alchokachi, Lauren Barkholtz, Maya Bossenbrook, Hadley Brown, Bryn Claiborne, Kelly Connor, Sophie Corbett, Cheyenne Darling, Mia Edwards, Carly Jordan, Ella Lee, Lily McSpadden, Meg Murphy, Macy Primrose, Isabella Robinson, Reese Scholl, Natalie Spalding, Calla Sprecher, Taylor Thomas, Haley Tobin, Bryn Wilson, Emma Weichman, and Bozeman High's All-State individuals, Lucy L. Chokachi, Maya Bosenbrook, Hadley Brown, Mia Edwards, Leo Fields, and Carly Jordan, and Gallatin High All-State individuals, Oliver Betcher, Zeke Layton, Cambry Peterson, Emery Streets, and Kira Tsukamoto, and Eastern AA Players of the Year, Maya Bosenbrook and Zeke Layton.
Motion made by trustee D, seconded by trustee Black. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Congratulations. Thanks to all of you and all of your families and parents for coming tonight and for all the support from the parents. And please meet Trustee D for a picture out in the hall. So thank you for coming. Thanks, Erica. Yeah. Really? You did? Oh, cool. She was almost an Olympian, no, not an Olympian, a World Cup soccer player until she got in a car accident. Yeah. If she hadn't gotten in a car accident and got hurt, she would have been on that World Cup team that won in 1998 with Mia Hamm. She's played for Cal. Yeah, she doesn't talk about herself. Yeah. Up next, 2024 AA Volleyball State Championship Team and All-State Individuals. Welcome back, Mr. Rader.
It's good to be back. So 1-2 in girls, state cross country, state crosstown state championship for girls soccer, and we had a crosstown state championship for volleyball. So at this time, I'll introduce the two coaches and we'll have them come up and speak. First, we'll have Coach Devin from Bozeman High and then Coach Erica Gustafson from Gallatin High.
Thank you.
And the kids.
Hi, thank you very much for having us. Devin Dinan, this is my second year as the head coach for Bozeman Volleyball. We have finished second in the state 2 years in a row, but I'm pretty proud of both of those second places. They were pretty incredible. We had 4 all-state individuals this year, which I'm fairly confident is the most Bozeman has ever had. We haven't had an all-state individual since 2021, so to have 4 this year is pretty incredible. These 4 were on the court pretty much the entire year. They made a huge difference all the way around. 3 of them are academic all-state, and Nula is the only first-team all-state volleyball player that is not a senior this year, so I would imagine we will be back in this room next year. Lauren, as a setter, had over 900 assists just this year. She's finishing her career with 1,661 assists, I believe, and that's pretty incredible with 2 years on varsity. 1,000 is a big milestone, so she more than hit that. Sophia Kimmel was our libero. She is 1,330-some digs is what she's finishing her career with. But I think more impressively, she was on the top 10 list this year and last year pretty consistently for her serve receive percentage, which is a big deal. Morgan Jones was a right side. She's finishing with over 800 kills and over 500 digs, which is tough to do from the right side. And then Nula, I don't have all of her stats together because we're still working on them, but I feel pretty confident she's going to get over 1,000 kills in her varsity career. Yeah, I'll let them tell you what they're going to do with 3 of them are seniors. So Morgan, Lauren, and Sophia will be moving on. Did you? No, you guys don't want to tell?
We'd love to hear what you're doing next year. Excellent.
I'm going to Southern
Southern Illinois to play volleyball.
I'm undecided.
That's okay.
I'm going to Washington State to play volleyball next year.
you're a junior and you've committed to Washington State? Yes. Oh, that's really great. Any questions for the Hawks? That championship game sounded unbelievable.
It was pretty unbelievable. Yep. Yeah, it was a long day. A little over 7 hours and 15 sets of volleyball. And these 4 didn't get to sit down. Most other teams play with, 9, 10, 11 players, and we played with 7 or 8. And these guys got to play the whole day. So.
Tanya.
It's not a professional question at all. I watched one of the days of your tournaments, and I could not understand how you could not be so sore after like 5 minutes of that. Not being a volleyball player ever, what are the injuries that you are most likely to have to work to avoid? And I know what it means to have shin splints, but I was watching you guys and I was like, holy crap, that's gotta hurt. But I didn't know what was hurting.
I think after that tournament, everything, I'd say head to toe, probably hurt on these guys. Yeah, but sprained ankles are probably the biggest thing in volleyball, and just overall sore bodies. But yeah, I would say after that Saturday, everything hurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of you, and for your parents, that had to have been very painful on both sides of town. So yeah.
It was a stressful day.
Well, that's awesome. Well, congratulations on your All-State honors and the amazing season that you had and the amazing representation of Bozeman School District that you were a huge part of in that championship game. And we'll have you stay while we bring the Raptors up and honor them, and then we'll bring you all back up to read the award. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. Coach Gus.
Hello. Come on up. Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to talk about these fine ladies making their way around here. We started off with a really, really solid returning group of girls and then added in a couple sophomores and a couple juniors, and it clearly was the right mix of girls this year. We started off really strong and didn't really ever look back. We finished 28-2, and those 2 losses came, one to Bozeman and one to Senior, who finished 2nd and 3rd. One kind of stat that I guess I was reflecting on is we won 84 sets and we only lost 15. So in 30 matches to only drop 15 sets. So that's pretty remarkable. This is obviously the first state championship in school history and the short history of Gallatin, but something we're really, really proud of. It was our first Eastern AA Conference Championship this year as well. One thing that's been really awesome is we've just continued to build each year and get better. And that says a lot about these girls and them just really committing to us and believing in us as coaches and themselves and their goals. And it became really clear to me that this group was just a little different. They were going to put winning kind of above everything else, and that was the most important thing. So it was really awesome to be a part of. Another stat I want to say is our program finished 76-10, so all 4 of our teams had a really successful year, and that's something that I think is really, really important. We obviously have a ton of really phenomenal athletes in this community at both schools, and unfortunately have to make cuts and things like that, but building a program and seeing girls experience success is a really important thing for us. We had 11 academic all-state, 6 Eastern AA Conference players, and 4 all-state players as well. So kind of like you guys talked about, it was a pretty epic championship game. Like you said, the parents were probably stressed out. It was kind of comical to look into the stands and just see everybody was, oh my gosh. And then after the first championship, everybody left and then came back with food. And yeah, it was a long run and definitely some good volleyball. So that was exciting. And I'm going to talk about, we have one player not here, Taylor Speak. I'm just going to briefly kind of talk about her. She was a 4-year varsity member at Gallatin. And she finished her career, one kind of stat that I was going to say is she finished with 1,403 digs, which is really remarkable. She obviously, that's the highest in Gallatin's history. And I think she'll probably hold that record for a long time, just because I don't foresee a lot of freshmen playing varsity volleyball from this point on. She went on to be academic All-State for 4 years. She was All-Conference 3 years and All-State 1 year. And she's continuing her volleyball career at Central Washington. So that was a really exciting thing for Taylor. So I just wanted to, even though she's not here, honor her. Cadence Lundgren. Step on forward. Here you go. There you go. Kate also was a 4-year varsity starter at Gallatin. She finishes her career with 932 kills, 146 aces, 415 blocks. She will leave Gallatin as the top kill leader, top ace leader, and top block leader. She also is 3rd in Montana for all-time blocks. So that was a huge accomplishment. She has been academic All-State for 4 years, All-Conference for 3 years, All-State. She earned Eastern Conference Player of the Year this year, and she also has received a scholarship to attend Kansas State next year and play volleyball there. So both of these two girls have been around for the duration, of the short history of Gallatin High, but really made a huge difference in building this program and making it what it is and taking us where we wanted it to be. So I just feel really proud and really lucky to have been, able to coach this group of girls. They're really fun. And, get another championship's pretty awesome too, for sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
That was great. Any questions for the state champion Raptors? Kevin?
I think I have more comments than questions, but the concessions, I did hear you guys set a record concessions
I
in between
believe
the
that.
championship games.
You
guys in Billings
my-
Central,
probably.
or the Bozeman
Yeah,
as well.
probably. My sister came up from Arizona, and I have 2 small kids, and she said, I was afraid they were going to shut my credit card off because I was going to the concession stand so much to keep your kids happy during that 5-hour stint. So I believe that. I believe that, Kevin.
Yeah. And then also remind me, Bozeman High and Gallatin have won one state championship each,
Yes, they do. Yeah.
and you were a part of those, both of those?
I was lucky enough to be a part of both of them.
Well,
Yes.
thank you for coming back and coaching Gallatin the last couple of years.
Thank
and
you.
being a part of the programs.
Yeah.
Not only volleyball, but basketball throughout the history of our schools, and supporting the kids. And then also, I will just remind you that in the future, at the tournament, it's usually frowned upon to have a second game for the championship game. There's a lot of volunteers helping out.
I mean, I think
know it's a
all
long
of
day
us.
for
I
you
mean,
guys.
I get it. The Bozeman team that won 2 in 2015, we did the same thing. Not 5 both times, but went to a second, won 2. I think they just really, I looked at them and I was like, you guys just really love playing volleyball and you just really want to play a little bit longer. It's really fun
don't
for
wanna
all
let it
of
go.
us. Really fun for all of us.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
So the competition throughout the entire day.
Yeah, it was great.
So
Great volleyball.
congratulations on that to all of you. I guess I know the state championship's probably the easy answer on this question, but what's something that was most memorable for you guys?
You guys, anything. One thing I will say about this team, we had our banquet last night, and I was reflecting. I've been coaching for 19 years, and I've been on a lot of bus trips. They're becoming a lot longer these days. And usually, after a win, you get on the bus, everybody has a dance party, you're singing, it's really fun. They were no different. And then about, an hour into the trip, the hype music would stop and it would become all these sad songs. And I would look back and then they're all crying and they're like, this is our last year. We're so sad. I mean, this started from the first road trip. They were like, this is the last time we're going to Missoula. So then they were just very sentimental, which was an interesting switch the entire season. We took a party bus this year. That was one thing with busing that was new. So that was exciting. They were really excited about the lights. and the really good sound system. So that was a fun time. We went ziplining to start off the year. That was also very memorable. Some girls were terrified. We didn't know if it was going to actually happen with some of them, but they all did it. It was a very big experience. Yes. By the end, they were like trying to do flips off and stuff. So I would say that was a very memorable, it was pretty comical seeing them all do that and kind of see what personalities came out. So for me, I would say that. What about you guys? Anything else? Really hit them all. They're looking at me like, please stop.
Yeah. How many of you are seniors?
We had 6 seniors. A couple aren't here. So we had
That's not very
6
many.
seniors. Yeah, 6 seniors.
Congratulations. Amazing season. Hanging a state championship banner in Gallatin High School is really special. So really happy for all of you. And thank you very much for all the information you gave us about the kids. It was great. And so we'll bring the Hawks back up and we will read the award. Trustee Lucene.
Yeah, well, this has been an incredible night with these awards. So congratulations to all of you. I do have one question before. I watched the games on NFHS. Extremely impressed. The one thing that impressed me the most was how the Hawks obviously lost the first game and came back all the way to the championship game to the end. So I'm just curious, what was your mental strength through those days to get you to the last game?
We had a very senior-heavy team, so I think it was just kind of sad if we were to lose out that first game against them. So I think we all got pretty excited to keep going.
Mhm. Were you physically tired?
Oh yeah. We went back to her house and we were all just laying on the couch and dying.
Yeah, well, it was very impressive, and I mean, those games put me in a bad spot because it's like, my wife said, well, who are you going to root for? And I said, well, whoever's serving. It's like, so congratulations to all of you. It's very, very good presentation and good game. So with that, it's my pleasure to recommend that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Bozeman High and Gallatin High volleyball teams participated in the 2024 State AA Volleyball Tournament in Bozeman, November 14th through 16th, 2024, and whereas the Gallatin High team finished as state champions. Team members include Brooklyn Binford, Maya Chase, Michaela Coleman, Ava Floor, Emma Hardman, Jory Hauk, Lexi Kirkwood, Josie Lathrop, Cadence Lundgren, Kate Nansel, Kylie Petty, Taylor Speak, Katie Swanson, Kennedy Varda, and Marky Wiseman. And whereas earning first team all-state honors are from Bozeman High, Nuala Anderson, Sophia Kimmel, Lauren Fox, and Morgan Jones. From Gallatin High, Cadence Lundgren and Taylor Speak. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees recognize and honor the 2024 Gallatin High State Championship Volleyball Team, Brooklyn Binford, Maya Chase, Michaela Coleman, Ava Floor, Emma Hardman, Jory Hauk, Lexi Kirkwood, Josie Lathrop, Cadence Lundgren, Kate Nansel, Kylie Petty, Taylor Speak, Katie Swanson, Kennedy Varda, and Marky Wiseman. Bozeman High All-State Individuals, Nuala Anderson, Lauren Fox, Morgan Jones, and Sophia Kimmel, and Gallatin High All-State Individuals, Cadence Lundgren and Taylor Speak.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Lucene, seconded by Trustee Wilson. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor?
I'm so excited.
Motion passes 8-0. Congratulations to you all. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks to all the parents that came tonight as well. And please join Trustee Lucina in the hall for a picture. Ready for me? Up next, item 2.3, Board Education 2024 Targeted Early Literacy Summer Jumpstart Data Summary. Superintendent Bertram.
Good evening, trustees. Brief presentation about the results of House Bill 352. We have some preliminary results on the efficacy of our Summer Jumpstart program. Go ahead, Mr. Van Buren. Reminder, this program was made possible via Eric Matthews and other state legislators in support of House Bill 352, providing 120 hours of robust programming. We served over 200 students entering kindergarten through third grade. We operated 3 sites, Meadowlark, Emily Dickinson, and a multilingual English learner-focused site at Highlight. Reminder, Summer Jumpstart is very closely tied to our long-range strategic plan goals on third grade literacy and early literacy. Go ahead to the next slide. The program featured, we had 120 hours of focused literacy instruction. That 120-hour component is a requirement of House Bill 352. It has to occur over at least 4 weeks. I believe we ran a 6-week program. There were some challenges around the language in the bill and whether it could start before or after July 1. We anticipate starting earlier next summer. That's been clarified. We'll probably run a 7 to 8 week program for students. You can go back to that for a second. We operate a professional learning communities model during the school year, and we did the same for the Jumpstart, offering collaboration time for teachers to come together and talk about student performance. We had administrative support, so Nellie Brown and Adrian and Vincula did admin support at the 2 buildings, and then Bella ran their own admin support out of Highlight. We know from many iterations of summer school in Bozeman Public Schools that there's barriers that prevent families who we'd like to offer the support to. They experience barriers. We tried to alleviate those barriers. Thanks to Mr. Waterman and his team, we ran buses during the summer with First Student. We served food service at the sites, and we partnered with United Way to do full-day childcare for families who needed it. Community partners, more and more, anything that we can't do alone, and we're doing with the support of community partners. So the United Way, we met with them early. They agreed to staff full-day summer camp so kids could go in the morning to Jumpstart and afternoon to their camp, and then Bozeman Schools Foundation, who's become an instrumental partner in all things we're doing. They supported scholarships for any free and reduced lunch families who wanted to do the full-day camp, which was phenomenal. Bella, World Language Initiative, their Bella program provided a 3rd Jumpstart location, approximately 40 students where their primary need was learning English. We're part of that. It was a full-day model focused on literacy skills. They also did social emotional learning. Many of those students are newcomers, have been in our public school system for a matter of months. We are hopeful to expand Bella beyond the 40 student capacity and are partnering with World Language Initiative on ideas on how to support staffing. It's more expensive to run that model because it requires more staff to run Bella than our typical Jumpstart. This is all really tiny, but we wanted to study the efficacy of the program. Luckily, we also have some data scientists who we employ in the data department that help determine whether things are statistically significant. So what you see on the left is qualifying students who are our current grade 1, 2, and 3. They were kindergartners, first and second graders when they qualified for Summer Jumpstart. And if they're on the left-hand side, they attended at least 80% of our Jumpstart programming. On the right are qualifying students that did not attend. So you see that we have more proficient kids on the left. However, when you go into the statistical analysis, those two are not statistically significant. If you go to the next slide. So the takeaway is that one summer of intervention is not going to close the achievement gap. It's a piece of the puzzle. We know that we had a higher proficiency rate from those kids that attended. However, there's more work to do, and for some of those students, it's multiple years to close that achievement gap. If you go to the next slide, that was based on proficiency. We're also looking at growth, and found that the average winner, so they were, to qualify for Jumpstart, it was winter Acadians last winter, and then we had fall Acadians as they came in. So you sort of had pre and post. We saw average winter composite score of 83 and an average fall composite score of 113. So very significant growth from that population. We're doing some further statistical analysis. I'll bring back those graphs where we're going to compare that cohort to the other cohort, similar to the last graph, on sort of the control group and the experimental group.
Your winter is January, February 2024?
Yeah, it would have been January 24 to September 24. Yeah. This one's exciting. Go back to, or go to the graph, and then I'll come back to the. Yeah, there we go. So we also qualified through Bozeman Reed's. Megan Roth and her team went out in the community and found 4-year-olds who were going to enter our kindergarten, and a group of them also participated in Summer Jumpstart. Let's see, Mike, maybe I got the wrong slide. Go to the end. Yeah, there we go. That's the picture. So what you have on the left are those qualifying students who attended at least 80% of Jumpstart program, and they're sitting in our classrooms now as kindergartners. What you have on the right is all the other kindergartners that didn't attend. On the right, what you see is sort of the bell curve of our kindergarten performance. You come in with kids that are in the red and in the yellow. We know historically we have 60 to 70% of our kids who come in without prerequisite literacy skills. This group on the left, our kids, the only way they got into Jumpstart is they didn't have prerequisite literacy skills. So you would anticipate that they would come in lower than our typical population, and they're killing it. We have no students that attended that early intervention on the left that came in and were well below benchmark. They're all below benchmark, at a benchmark, and then we have kids that are, 58% of those kids are above benchmarks. They qualified because they were red or yellow the summer before. So if you go back to the previous slide, I think I just had them out of order. Incoming kinders who participated in Jumpstart showed strong performance on fall Acadians. Important to note this group whose entry to criteria was solely based upon their non-proficiency. The important takeaway is early intervention matters. We know that the further you move along in grade level, and that's why we have such a pivotal time at third grade reading goal, once you move beyond that, it takes much more work to turn that around. And so we saw great efficacy, the best efficacy with our youngest learners in Bozeman Reed Summer Jumpstart, which also is exciting that we have 72 4-year-olds getting robust, way more than 120 hours of instruction at Morningstar right now in the Bozeman Reed's Early Learning Center. We will bring back more data when we have it. I also want to pass you, the World Language Initiative did a great job of summarizing their programming this summer, and share that with you. For the Bella students, the data that we are studying for multilingual English learners is their WIDA scores. So in the months of December and January, all flagged multilingual English learners in the district and in the state are given an assessment on reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and we will be using those WIDA scores as a comparison for kids who attended Bella and students who didn't attend Bella, as well as that growth data that I referred to. When we have all that compiled, we'll come back and talk about it again. I'll take any questions.
Gary.
Thanks, Casey. Would you remind at least me how students are enrolled in Jumpstart?
Great question. So if you were a incoming kindergartner, Bozeman Reads went out and did sort of a roundup. So they had multiple events and parents could go online and reserve a testing location, and Will Dickerson and Megan and their team assessed all those kids individually. If you were currently in our school as a K1 or 2 student, we use the winter Acadience scores. All students that were flagged red or yellow, well below or below benchmark, were given an invitation to Summer Jumpstart, and then we, from those 2 assessment pools, we served approximately 200 students.
Liana.
Maybe you just answered this, but remind me also, when you said that Megan went out and they went to 4-year-olds in the community, was it the same? It's the same thing that you just.
Yeah, so Megan was out in the community doing a lot of assessments for 2 purposes. One group of kids were incoming kinders who were going to turn 5 and join our kindergarten, and we would serve in this summer jumpstart. She was also rounding up kids who were going to be 4 for the classroom program at Morningstar. Yep.
Sandy.
So, I see on the Bella program, there's areas for growth that they have for their program next year. Do you have some thoughts on what might be different next summer?
Yeah, a couple things. We've already talked about, we did Bozeman School District food service at 2 of our sites, and then Highlight was one of the HRDC summer feeding program sites. They found that with having kids there, their breakfast, lunch, and snack needs at the summer feeding program was not enough. They're having to augment food in that program. So Mr. Waterman's working with Brittany and her team to operate Bella with district food service as a 3rd site. Transportation seemed to work okay. Some of their barrier was staffing, and we're working with them and pointing them also towards the foundation, just recognizing that similar to special education, multilingual English learner programming is expensive, and that the House Bill 352, it's sort of a one-size-fits-all in terms of the funding that comes from that. We took 100% of the funds for eligible kids and gave it to Bella to serve those students, and they're looking for them to grow. They're going to need some private fundraising as well to grow it.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you. Up next is consent agenda.
I move we approve consent agenda items 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Reinhardt, seconded by trustee Black. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 8-0.
I'd make a motion to approve agenda item number 3.5.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Black, seconded by trustee D. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Singular action item 4.1.1, consider approval of MOU and letter of agreement regarding future sports park improvements and use. Mr. Waterman.
Good evening, trustees. I'm here bringing you a proposal to collaborate some efforts with the city of Bozeman to move forward with a plan I think that's been in place to some extent since the $125 million bond issue to build Gallatin High was introduced back in 2016. At that point in time, there was a recognition that there's some synergies related to the sports park just north of Gallatin High School, and at that point, the then future campus. We included some language in our bond to allow the district to purchase a right to use from the city of Bozeman public space, shared spaces in that sports park for up to 99 years. More recently, the District Long Range Facility Planning Committee has been meeting, looking at needs that have emerged in the high schools and the elementaries. But for the high schools specifically, we've been noting a significant traffic impact at Gallatin High School. A need for additional parking lot, and then also a need for turf fields. I should be real clear to you, the $125 million worth of bonds, during that process, there was obviously fields were included in a part of that, the reconstruction of Van Winkle Stadium, reconstruction of the fields both at Bozeman High and Gallatin High. All of those projects were completed on time and as budget, as planned. So we're not talking about anything that was a shortcoming of the bond or the planning process. I think what we're looking at is needs evolving and desires evolving as we've moved into the future of One Bozeman. Long Range Facility Planning Committee for the high school has prioritized additional parking at Gallatin High School and then additional turf fields. The picture that you see in front of you is the concept of where we're moving forward with the city. You see kind of right in the middle, proposed 100-plus space parking lot available to Gallatin High School during school hours for parking. And then you see two turf fields to the northwest up there at Cottonwood and Oak. One of those fields would be completed as part of this project, and the other one would be sort of roughed in, if you will, in anticipation of future fundraising, likely by the boosters, not by the school district. So the concept is that we would have shared spaces. They would be owned by the city of Bozeman. The city of Bozeman would give priority use to the district for the parking lot and facilities during school hours and event time for the parking lot. The turf field would be mostly available almost exclusively to us leading up to, during the summer month, leading up to school, 2-a-days, those types of things. And then after school during the fall sports season, and then they'd be available for city use, city patrons after that. We feel really great about that collaboration. I think $6.2 million is the figure the city put on it, about the revenue generating capacity of the sports park. This contributes to that. It allows outside users to use those fields, benefiting both the city and the district. And it takes the maintenance off of our team. We don't have we're short, I think, in custodians as far as staffing goes. So our ability to maintain those fields and operate them, rent them out is really not within our scope really, or our ability to staff. So being able to hand those things to the city but still recognize the economic benefit is very significant. Again, we're buying the right to use these fields. They would be owned during construction and afterwards by the city. So we would be purchasing the right to use them. Our contribution would be a one-time actual cost contribution, not to exceed $3 million, but whatever the actual cost of construction would be. So we would pay the city. They would use our funds to construct these facilities, and then we would have the priority use to use them for the life of the improvements. We'll be paying these costs out of the high school transition levy. We've $3 million is kind of our maximum right now. There's $3.2 million in that account at this point with 1 year to go. And it's one of the nice things, the way things have lined up, this is a one-time project. These improvements are a one-time cost. The transition levy is non-renewable funding. So we're matching a one-time cost with a one-time funding source. In other words, the transition money wouldn't be appropriate for staffing. It would build some financial cliff into our budget that we wouldn't be able to move forward from. The yellow block in there represents where the proposed crosswalk is. The city is going to be financing that portion of the construction from their funds. That's, I believe, $150,000. City will be maintaining all of the properties with the exception of snow removal for the parking lot. We essentially need that space cleared in time for school to start at 7:30 in the morning. So our teams would be more, our contractors probably would be more apt to get that done before the city would be able to get to it. Public benefits we mentioned. Just last two things. This is in front of you all for approval tonight. The city commission needs to countersign on that. They're meeting tomorrow night for the same discussion purposes. Estimated completion date is this summer, August 2025, hopefully in time for school to start this year.
Mr. Waterman, will you touch on the difference between the MOU and the letter of agreement?
Yeah, so there's some, I'm glad you brought that up. So from kind of a technical standpoint, the flow of the documents, the MOU is meant to be a kind of a conceptual overview of how the project's going to look, just a big picture of stating our intentions and getting everyone on agreement and moving in the same direction. The letter of agreement is more specific, I think, is where you're headed with regards to initial transactions, funding structures, those types of things. We do anticipate coming back to you with some more final full numbers at a later date. These are the two documents we need to get that going. Superintendent Bertram, did I answer your question?
Yeah,
or-
and the letter of agreement allows some of the funds to flow to get design started.
Yes.
To meet
we'll-
the timelines.
Yep, we'll be upon your approval and the city's approval tomorrow, we'll be issuing a $250,000 check to the city before the end of the year to get the process up and going. They've already put out for some RFPs for some of the initial construction, so the train is on the track. Just hoping for your approval tonight.
Sandy.
Well, I'm really excited about this project and this collaboration with the city. And the parking, we've all tried to park there at certain times of the day, and it's much needed. I just have a question about the crossing, because that's a busy street. Is that gonna, do you know, is that gonna look like what happens at MSU? From their parking lot to the field house, or to the,
Yep.
stadium?
Yep, there's a great question. There's some flashing beacons both at MSU and then also at, across the street from Bozeman High at, basically at Starbucks
Same
at this
thing,
point in
yeah.
time. So it's the same concept. I think there's some differences in that on Oak Street, you've got a median. So it's there, there's two-way traffic, so there's kind of a little bit of safe refuge kind of right in the middle, so it'll kind of be double the work. They're also looking at correct placement of the parking lot, so you don't have people necessarily coming out of the parking lot and straight into the crosswalk. So there's some engineering and things to be done with that. Some traffic calming issues about, do we raise up the crosswalk so there's a speed bump essentially as part of the crosswalk. So they're still working on those details, but I do anticipate there will be the flashing beacon one way or the other, regardless of the additional traffic calming things that
One
put in
more.
place.
And does this, the soccer field, does this mean that games will be played at Gallatin?
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't necessarily know that we want to comment on that. It's been a little bit of a moving target with what folks have wanted. Do we want lights? Do we want buildings? Do we want bleachers, light, all those types of things? So where it was most recently left is they want turf to practice on, I think is what they're looking for. So I don't know that our agreements aren't going to necessarily designate what our uses are going to be for them. That'll be something that we can decide internally, knowing we've got the time and the space to make those choices.
Thank you.
Sandy, the current status quo for Gallatin soccer is the teams have privately fundraised to rent turf fields for practice at the current sports park, and the district has covered the cost for Gallatin to have their home games on turf at the sports park.
Okay.
This would allow both of those things to happen without incurring the rental fees.
Okay, thank you.
Gary.
Okay, full disclosure, I read the MOU, but I did not read the letter of agreement. But my question involves the mid-block crossing. my read of the MOU was that was separated from the turf field and the parking lots. I'm just curious, will we expect that to be completed by August 1st of next year as well, or is that a separate issue?
Yes, we will expect that to be completed. There's language in the agreement that we want the mid-block crossing to be up and running before the district will sanction any use of that. We don't want people running across Oak Street is what it boils down to. So they're separate as part of the agreement. That's more of a funding issue. They'll be on the same timeline to get them up and running.
Kevin.
In here, I see that in the MOU, it talks about this is a 20-year MOU, but I also see in here that I think there is reflection of that this is an MOU to agree to another MOU. I guess to me, it would be nice to know after, I know that it kind of quasi-defines like, hey, we'll agree later on that we'll be agreeable for the use of the parking lot on agreeable terms in the future. Would we expect in the next MOU that becomes a little bit more a clearer picture on what that looks like?
Yeah, so it was a weird thing as this document and concept was evolving. We've got the district will be investing obviously in the parking lot and the turf field, and there is a different life expectancy for a turf field than there is for a parking lot. So we were trying to fit both of those dissimilar things into one document. So our intention is that our right to use these facilities will be the life of the two of the field and the parking lot respectively, even though they're going to be different. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think you can anticipate a more formal, detailed MOU to follow for this initial construction, and then future MOUs. You know, when our hope is that this is a long-term partnership. So when the turf field needs to be replaced, we are having conversations with the city proactively 7 years, 8 years, 9 years down the road on what the next investment from the district could look like on turf replacement, recognizing that our initial investment is for the life of what we're purchasing and that there's a shelf life for that. Similar to the parking lot, it's hard to determine, depends on how you maintain a parking lot, how the life of the parking lot. So we're basically purchasing 20 years worth of use of a parking lot, and then at that point we'd have to rediscuss district contribution on our use of the parking lot.
And then just for clarity, I know Casey, you touched on soccer. We've had different trustee emails over the last year and a half regarding just practice fields and for outdoor sports at Gallatin. Do you guys see, does this resolve? I get the biggest thing is we have to go somewhere else to practice, and we don't like that, or we'd like different. Does this solve that particular request, and do those concerns go away because they can practice within walking distance?
I don't know that it solves it, and I think the answer depends on who you ask. However, the Gallatin Boosters have been proactively reaching out and engaging various fall sports. There is a desire from the football program at Gallatin to practice on this space. Some initial conversations on design, on whether that gets permanently striped or temporarily striped. All those things are yet to be determined. From our perspective, it adds playable square footage available specifically to Gallatin High, and then it's also available to the community. I think it alleviates some of the ongoing concerns and misunderstandings regarding what was built and wasn't built with bond money. So to answer your question, I think it helps. I don't think there will always be comparisons made between facilities and always a desire for more.
I would just add a comment that out of all the AA, I think it's important to remind everybody that we're a very unique community at this point in time, where we're going out of our way as a district to share all the facilities with both schools from a high school standpoint. To my knowledge, Bozeman is the only school district that lets the other teams practice at the other school districts, and I know most of them only allow varsity sports at varsity fields. But both as an example, football, all the freshman JV varsity Raptors and Bozeman High play at Van Winkle. So I feel like our district has gone above and beyond, and that includes like Mark Ader scheduling practices and that sort of thing at fields, where and that's a very unique situation to Bozeman only. Everywhere else, if you're at Billings West, you practice only at Billings West, and you play your football game, as an example, at Daly Stadium, and it's only varsity. So I think that's a very unique thing that we've done and decided to do, and a compliment to our district and the leadership in the past of setting those things up and allowing it.
This is a singular action item. If there's no further questions or comments, we can take a motion.
I would make a motion to approve this as presented.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Black, seconded by trustee Lucine. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Up next, item 4.1.2, consider approval of high school boundaries approach. Superintendent Bertram.
Thank you, Chair Neal. That one. Just give you a little background, a reminder, go to the first slide. You met during a board retreat over the summer, and there was a discussion and consensus from this board to study high school boundaries and to convene a consensus process in doing so. If you go to the next slide. We revisited that recommendation in November. On the 11th, I brought to you an updated 4-part recommendation, in essence, to not convene a full-scale consensus process to change high school boundaries, a recommendation on how to address the bubble of middle school, work towards increasing MLEL supports at CJ and Bozeman High, and then open enrollment back up at Gallatin High, and continue to monitor capacity there. If you go to the next slide, just a reminder, gave you some information around percent differences between the smallest high school and the largest high school in our multi-high school communities, Billings West, Helena Capital, Sentinel Big Sky, Great Falls, and Flathead Glacier, and then our current enrollment at BHS plus Bridger Charter and Gallatin High. So much smaller percent difference between enrollment at our high schools. We talked about that the actual difference with the fall enrollment count was 92 students. So you don't even have to move 46 students to balance the schools. We talked about historical boundary changes usually come with grandfathering and some siblings, and that it typically then only impacts new families to the community. And with Gallatin High being closed, it's impacting new students or families moving into the community. So you're getting the same outcome with either path. We talked about the bubble, that it was designed that way, that approximately 15% of students at each middle school would go to the opposite high school of the other 85% of kids in that school. We ran some current numbers. 40 CJMS 8th graders are currently scheduled to go to BHS, 44 SMS 8th graders currently scheduled to go to Gallatin High, so you have a wash there. If you move to the next slide. Also showed some, and these numbers have changed. They change, as I've mentioned, almost daily with new enrollments on multilingual English learner enrollment. But large population at SMS and at Gallatin High School because it was designed that way, newcomer schools, and we offered families that opportunity with more resources. At the same time, we also have growing population at CJ and Bozeman High, and are looking through all of the recommendations I've made, even though my recommendations are changing and evolving, is to move away from newcomer school sites so that all of our multilingual English learners can be served in their neighborhood schools. Friday, that was my recommendation. If you recall, at our last meeting, there was consensus on number 1, number 3, and number 4 from this Board of Trustees, and more discussion needed on the bubble, and a recommendation to come back with a new recommendation or an updated recommendation. We engaged our instructional cabinet teams and had a very similar pros and cons conversation, and ended up with as clear as mud, but did have unanimous recommendation from our high school administrators to move to a feeder pattern because for a variety of reasons, but one, that 15% was by design, in part due to we were anticipating middle school number 3 and high school number 3, and didn't want to go to full feeder schools when that was built. Go to the next slide. Received a lot of public comment, which is awesome. One, it tells me that people read my emails and they're engaged in what's going on. It felt like I was sharing with Trustee D. I don't know if you see the movie like Freaky Friday, but it felt like I had woken up this morning and I was looking at Kate Suit's inbox, because every email was from a family at Hawthorne that I had known or had worked with in the past. So I thought I had transported back to the principal at Hawthorne. That's not the case. What I learned is that the bubble impacts people differently. And so we've consistently, since I've been in the superintendent role, heard year after year from not large numbers, but different numbers of people impacted in the bubble. The bubble is primarily students at Hawthorne, students at Whittier, and then students at Highlight. So the CJ bubble is Hawthorne and Whittier students, about 15% that go to Bozeman High instead of Gallatin. And the SMS bubble is about 15% of Highlight students that don't go to Gallatin High, they go to Bozeman High instead. We've heard from people who don't like the bubble and don't like that 85% of their middle school peer group goes the other way. And so this board was thoughtful about, if we're going to not engage in full-scale consensus, is there a tweak that can be made to impact or to address the bubble? My lessons learned are there are no easy buttons when it comes to attendance boundaries, period. Any perceived minor tweak in attendance boundaries has real impacts on families and students, and appropriately stirs up strong opinions and emotions. The point being, making tweaks outside of a major consensus and stakeholder input process is not wise. I also learned that if you like something, you often don't give feedback along the way. So we're hearing from people in the bubble who didn't like the bubble. We choose to make a recommendation that gets rid of the bubble, and then it's appropriate. You're going to hear from people that were comfortable with it and are being impacted. So in essence, the Hawthorne concerns, I think I got 25 emails. When I boil them down, it most had to do with geographics. That those families are either in downtown or going up Bridger Canyon, and they have to drive right past Bozeman High School to get to Gallatin High School, and it extends the commute. Some of those families have chose to have their kids attend Headwaters for that very reason, so they have walkability in the downtown area, and we're excited about their kids going to Bozeman High. The other thing that I learned is that we have equity issues in terms of our public comment process and our decision-making processes that we need to continue to think about and we need to continue to problem solve for. The reason I believe that is every email that trustees received as public comment came from one portion of our community, Hawthorne families in the downtown or Bridger Canyon area. I have heard no feedback from any of the families impacted, positive or negative, by the bubble from Whittier or Highlight. And then I learned that I feel like the bubble remains an issue for us, that it was built during a time for a perceived reason that we are no longer experiencing. Our 10-year enrollment projections are flat. We're not anticipating middle school number 3 or high school number 3 anywhere in our horizon. We have expressed historical concerns where individual families reach out, and we should address it, but it should be addressed as part of a bigger community stakeholder consensus process, and that, as I mentioned earlier, enrollment tweaks, seemingly small enrollment tweaks with good intentions, we missed the boat on that. I missed the boat on that. So my updated recommendation, 1, 3, and 4 don't change. Continue to monitor 9 through 12 enrollment, no boundary change, consensus process initiated. Moving to number 2, continue with the current transfer policy that allows movement between high schools for compelling student family reasons. I think I would like to recommend that we proactively reach out to those families on an annual basis that are part of the bubble, that are current 8th graders, letting them know that we have a family-friendly transfer process, and they can choose to engage in that should they have a concern with the bubble. 3 doesn't change, work towards increasing ML/EL supports. We'll be prioritizing that in our budget recommendations. And then 4, open enrollment at Gallatin High. We would open it and then need to respond. If it quickly fills up, we're going to have to address the discrepancy between the schools again. But I would like to be able to say all of our schools are open to new families. And with our current enrollment numbers, we do have capacity at both buildings today. With that said, this recommendation is different than what went out on Friday and is published in your packet. My recommendation is you approve 1 through 4 as you see on the screen as presented.
And I'll take discussion, but procedurally, I guess I should have checked on this before the meeting. I'm wondering if we need an amended motion or what that's going to look like.
I believe procedurally, as long, you can make whatever motion you want, but my recommendation is that you approve that recommendation as written.
Even though it's not the recommendation that's in the packet?
Correct.
It's a recommendation, but not a motion. So,
Okay.
so we're good.
Motion, okay, all right. Anyway, if there is trustee questions or discussion. Tanya?
I just wanted to say, Mr. Bertram, that I am really impressed with the fast pivot and the knowing that it was a lot of thought as well that went into it. I have to say I kind of did a holy crap as well. And then it was calm. And I think I'm just really impressed at the way that you are continuing to help us use the consensus process and see when and where to implement it. And so I just really want to thank you for what I feel like looks like a very solid recommendation, revised recommendation.
Sandy?
Well, I would like to echo what Trustee Reinhardt said. In addition to that, I'm really proud that we're in a district that is flexible enough to look at what we learned, because if we had gone forward with this and you hadn't been thoughtful about the feedback that you got and learned from the things that we heard about, we wouldn't have learned these really important points that are up here on the board. So I'm very grateful that you are you're flexible in your leadership and you recognize the times when you need to pivot quickly or, you know, the hard decisions that you have to make for whatever reason. So thank you, Casey. And I really support this recommendation as it appears up here.
Kevin?
I would, Casey, well, thanks for the work over the weekend and last week and on this flexibility. You mentioned equity as far as who we heard from and the different schools. There's 4 schools that this, I believe, 3 schools that this kind of impacts. That would be my part of the concern on this, is that we have a bunch of families that, as we have the transfer policy already there, they would, and they've communicated so much in this short period of time, they probably are the families that would go and reach out and do this transfer right away because it makes sense. And so my concern are the people that, and from listening to different administrators and that sort of thing, there of the kids that come to each of our high schools, the ones that I've heard that are struggling the most are the ones that are going from SAC to Gallatin or from CJ to Bozeman High, just because lack of friends that they haven't been around for the last 3 years or 4 years. So I hope we can find a way to reach those parents at those other schools, whether it's Whittier or because Hawthorne obviously is they're connected and they see that they're and are aware of these different opportunities. I hope that we can find, and so therefore also from being a parent, I don't think those parents are going to miss out on this opportunity knowing that it might be best for their kids. I'm concerned about those Whittier kids and those other kids that, maybe their parents are working 3 jobs and just trying to keep their head above water just to make sure their kids have food and those type of things, that those kids get missed. And those are the kids that I've been hearing about that are struggling at the schools in these transitions and missing out on friends. So I know that you put that in your information here and in your thought, and I just hope that we can, I think that was the biggest motivating factor for me thinking about this piece. I would also go back to the transition committee, and myself and Lauren and Greg, if I remember correctly, we were all on that. Sandy. And many of the concerns that were brought up, that's why we don't have a north-south to begin with. Part of the reason we don't have a north-south, because we realize that if you went north-south, you're gonna have people that are at both schools that are a half a mile away. So it was intentional to do that. And there will be at some point in time a better way to get this done, but it will take more time. So those are the main 2 things that I just wanted to comment on, that, the challenge that we have still exists for those families, and I hope that we can find ways to get out to those families to know that there is a simple process. Those 8th graders are going to be freshmen, so they can have success, because it's really about those kids, and that's what we're always about. So, thank you.
I'd like to start by saying thank you also for the quick pivot and for just coming back to realize that this might take longer, be a bigger process, but also the growth mindset to list what we've learned and how we can move forward. I did want to build off of Kevin, Trustee Black's remarks. After being on that transition committee, and we did put a lot of work into this whole entire process and trying to make safe routes for students and all of the other things, there was the concern about these 15%. And I guess the only comment I would add is not just making sure they realize they could transfer at the 8th grade level, but the couple things that I heard from parents is why can we have the opportunity to transfer after 5th grade? And so we are in those feeder middle schools. And so I don't know what that looks like or that communication piece looks like. But that is just another thing I would like to get in the room for future thought. Thank you.
And I would just point out just kind of review the process real quick. And just kind of point out that Superintendent Bertram was acting according to board direction. We had our public meeting, our retreat meeting in the summer, and then we had a meeting last month. And last month we landed on tasking Superintendent Bertram with considering alternatives to the bubble. Superintendent Bertram collaborated with executive cabinet and principals from the high schools and the executive team, and attempted to navigate that, resulted in a recommendation that we received a whole lot of public comment emails over the weekend, and so Superintendent Bertram pivoted. So that was what that looked like, and he, with some of your wording tonight and wording in your emails, kind of being the fall guy on that, but you're acting at board direction, acting according to board direction, so there's that. And then I also want to point out, it's my perception, maybe this should be a question instead of a comment, but it's my perception that with this imperfect place where we're landing, with kind of putting a lot of dependence on the transfer policy, what we're also really doing there is we're putting a lot of tasks and burden on administration, because that transfer policy is becoming, with this landing spot, that transfer policy is becoming a really key component. And I agree with all this, but what we're doing here is we are saying that we want to communicate to all the maybe lesser engaged families to make sure they understand that that transfer policy is a tool that they can use. But that's going to result in people that work in this building having a lot of work to administratively execute the transfer policy. So it's not a perfect solution. In the perfect world, we have attendance areas where everyone goes to neighborhood schools and the transfer policy is used minimally. But like everything, nothing is perfect. I support this. I appreciate the process, and those are my comments. So, any further comments? Take a motion, Liana.
Well, I agree with everything that's been said here, and just appreciate the pivot also, Casey, and following that. And I do understand it was like board direction on everything that you said also, Greg. And I just want to reiterate what you said about the transfer policy, because I think that's the next step that parents are asking about and how that looks. So I'm just looking forward to how we can streamline that, how we can make that equitable across the board. So just agreeing, but thank you. Appreciate that.
I'd make a motion to approve the high school boundaries approach as presented tonight, items 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Black, seconded by Trustee Bertelson. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Item 5.1, board discussion, discuss recommended revisions to policy 6143, leadership compensation plan.
This was another anticipated change communicated on Friday that I received no public comment on. Assume that's positive. We are constantly reevaluating how we allocate resources, because what's on the wall really matters. And in doing so, recognize that any reductions we can make in central office infrastructure that would result in increased direct services to students is something that we want to pursue. So what I'm bringing forward is a organizational structure change. There's some technical pieces in the policy that I'll walk you through, because it does interface with policy, but it's tied to this bigger picture of some change that we are anticipating. The Burdine Warwood will retire in June, in charge of adult education, traffic education, other things going on in that end of the building. And Pat Strauss will retire a year from this June. And so we've been working on a succession plan for Burdine behind the scenes, and more recently have come forward with a succession plan opportunity for Pat Strauss that I feel super confident in, with adjusting Mars duties as deputy superintendent to take on human resources in terms of being Title IX coordinator and dealing with the ongoing significant or minor labor relations issues that come up. The fiscal impact, we get a year-long succession plan, and so you can't predict what happens on Pat's calendar, like when a Title IX issue starts or stops, or when there's a training opportunity. So we have a year-long opportunity for Mars to work with Pat as those things come up to get high-quality training. And so then she can hit the ground running upon his retirement. That's made possible via not backfilling Berdine's position and doing some restructures in the district. That year-long plan will cost us around $8,000 next year, which is a bargain, in my opinion, for a year-long succession plan. And then the following year, we're anticipating Pat's retirement, not filling the HR director position. Sarah Hayes, PLC admin coach, is only a 2-year position. So at the beginning 26-27, you have approximately $290,000 in district central office savings that can be reapplied towards direct student services or what is needed in the district. Moving to the actual policy, go ahead and go to the board agenda item and scroll down to the second page. Yeah. So the leadership compensation plan has been where these positions sort of live, and we've collected them, and there's work year factors and position factors, and it's quite a science on how we then set a base salary for administrators, and you do all the math, and our high school principal knows what his salary would be compared to HR director, compared to all those positions. We've made changes over time and haven't updated this policy. So one, specific to the organizational restructure that I'm talking about, is the addition of this director of student programs that's listed. And then we're also doing some cleanup in this policy. So we no longer have elementary assistant principals in place, so that's a strike through. The executive director of business and operations is no longer the district clerk, so we're cleaning that up. Director of fine arts and student programs is no longer a position. Director of curriculum is no longer a position. I think there is some public perception that when you have all those positions listed in there, that you have people in them. So we're trying to be transparent around the policy mirroring what our actual structure is. The yellow is not policy changes, but just drawing your attention to there's 2 additional positions beginning 26-27 that would also sunset from this list. The point being, we are reducing central office infrastructure so that we can prioritize direct student supports. There's one other minor change. If you scroll down right there, we have in policy that the director of facilities would get a 0 education factor for professional engineering license, so they're not getting a demerit for not having a master's degree. And then the Director of Business Services, and we're adding the Executive Director of Business and Operations would receive a 0 education factor for a CPA or a Montana Certified School Business Official designation. That's not for our current Executive Director of Business and Operations. Mr. Waterman has a master's degree. It's if when Mr. Waterman is no longer in that position, someone else is in that position, that it gives them an opportunity to not have a demerit if they don't have a master's degree, but they're a CPA or go through the MASBO certification process. So that's a minor future-focused change. With that, I take any questions you have. Again, this is policy, so it's a discussion tonight. It would come back on a consent agenda. Based on the discussion tonight, we would move forward with posting the Director of Student Programs. It's going to be internal only. I've been meeting with some of our administrative teams since this became public, or we communicated with our admin team about this position. Once it's finalized by the board, we'll do interviews and bring the final candidate for your approval.
Kevin.
Casey, on the 2 sunset positions, those will still come back and be read off at the end of
Yeah,
Or
I just
beginning of
highlighted them.
27,
Yep, they'll
26,
come back as
27?
policy changes when they disappear. Yep.
Okay.
It makes a lot of sense to me. Sorry, Leanna. I started talking right when you raised your hand. I think a big component to this is perpetuation planning, which is vital in any organization. And I think when there's impending retirements, it's a logical time to look at the organization chart and assess district needs, and which is exactly what we're doing here. And so when you presented this to board leadership, it makes a lot of sense. It seems very logical to me when I first heard it, and that was solidified tonight with some additional information. So I support it. Leanna?
Yeah, thank you for this. I'm really impressed, like just how this is organized and what the cost will be and all of that. It makes a lot of sense. And I think in the practicality, I'm trying to picture what will be different about, I understand what Mars will be doing, in learning under Pat and how that's going to change for her. But I'm just trying to picture like directly for impacting students, like what are we giving up? Is there something that we're, you know what I'm asking? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm just trying to think practically, what does that look like, just so I know.
Yeah, I don't anticipate that we're giving anything up in terms of direct student support. So we have a high functioning adult ed program, and adult ed has changed over time. So we're doing adult basic education and serving multilingual learners up there, and doing the HiSET programming and have certified teachers in place. Traffic Ed has moved to some online coursework, and they have Steve McCormick in a bit of a leadership role there. And then we've hired a sort of a coordinator position there. So that position, currently Mars supervises, correct? Yeah, adult ed and Berdine, and has very little day-to-day problem-solving interaction with that program. That would shift to this director of student programs, and so I don't anticipate any negative repercussions for any of the adult ed programming. When you move to HR, there's a long-term, we anticipate that some of the technical aspects of HR, like contracts and stipends, there's such a correlation between what HR does with that and what the business office does with that and payroll does with that. It's sometimes hard to disconnect those things. And so we anticipate long-term that there's probably going to be more synergy there, and that some of the technical aspects of HR might move under the umbrella of Lacey Clark in the business office. I don't see any direct student impacts to that move. In terms of labor relations, that is super pivotal for our district in terms of liability, and just navigating on behalf of our staff members who are in difficult situations and navigating different life circumstances. Pat excels, he's at working with people. Mars excels at working with people. And so I feel that's going to be, I've been really worried about who is the next HR director. And for me to say we're not going to have an HR director, we're going to have a deputy superintendent with a focus on HR is weird. But knowing what we've been able to offload from Mike and Mars' plate is going to have a positive impact on students. I see that the change to students is going to be Mars and Mike are each supervising 6 principals, so 6 buildings, plus all the other people that this director of student programs would take over. So we're greatly reducing the number of direct reports for Mars and Mike. We have noticed recently, and Lacey and Mike Waterman can attest to this, if we need these 5 or 6 people in a meeting, the bottleneck is Mars and Mike's calendar, because it's just so packed. And they are making sure that they're prioritizing their 6 buildings. So this greatly frees them up to have more bandwidth. Mars will spend a considerable amount of that bandwidth on HR, and then her other focus is on school sites. And so I think They do a great job of prioritizing their schools, and they're going to have more time in their calendar to make sure that happens. I don't know if you know this, but they also get here at like some crazy hour in the morning, and we're hoping to change that. If they want to be up at some crazy hour in the morning, it's not here working for Bozeman Public Schools.
Well, thank you for just that, filling in some of the details that, I mean, I was envisioning that things would go like you're suggesting, and that things were, that we weren't giving anything up. It just got me concerned, like, what extra does this mean and what else might be happening? So thanks for detailing that. And yeah, I feel really fortunate that what you're talking about, that coordination, I think that's going to be really excellent. So thanks.
Sandy.
Well, I just want to know who's going to be in charge of safety now, and that safety committee that I love so much.
Yeah, that will be this new director of student programs. They will also run the CERI committee, Equity Advisory Committee, and the Wellness Committee. And so that position has a lot to it, and we have very competent team of administrators. We have a strong pool of candidates for that. The other piece I didn't mention is there's been an ongoing, I don't know if we're the only AA district, but one of the only AA districts without a communications person. That doesn't 100% get fixed in this, but it does. Mike Waterman has some additional bandwidth now that we have Lacey and Julia in the business office up and running, and that transition is complete. He's pretty good with numbers, and he's actually really good with words. And so he's going to be taking on some of the communication, annual report to the community, some of those things that are just time-consuming communication pieces. He will support me in that, allowing me to get out of this building and into our school sites more often. So we're checking a lot of boxes and long-term saving close to $300,000.
Which Mike is good with numbers?
Little numbers, short words.
The thing we're working on with Mr. Waterman is he's a big fan of the hyphen and he hates commas. And so you can tell when he wrote it or I wrote it, and I'm a comma guy, so he's going to have to take on the comma.
You're a comma guy?
Comma guy.
Lauren.
I think this looks amazing, and I also, when I first heard Pat was going to retire, I kind of shuddered, like, oh my gosh, what is this going to look like? Yeah, thank you for all you do, Pat, but also thank you to everybody, Mars, for shifting and just that growth mindset. And when we're tasked with being an innovative school district for our students, I am really proud that we're also doing it at the admin level. This is very creative, and I'm excited to see it in action.
Tanya.
So glad Superintendent Bertram brought up the communications component, because that was the first thing I did with the job description there, was pop it open, hoping that that would be in there. I'm really glad there's a plan to do that. I also am a little bit concerned, but I think we can school him some, and that might help. Are there, and I guess I sat a long time on giving up the HR piece, because there are so many critical and key components in that. I think you've explained that to me to where it's answered most of my questions. Are there any lingering concerns that you still have over this proposal? Because there's so many shifting and moving pieces, and really the only things that I thought about was the expertise that somebody with a lifetime of HR brings to the table, and that communications piece that's still a gap. Are there other things that are that I didn't worry about that you did?
Yeah, I think my remaining worry, it has nothing to do with any of the people or positions we just listed. My current concern, and something we're working through in executive cabinet, is around the leadership structure in special education. Chad Berg is amazing, and we're concerned about if you pull Chad Berg out of the equation, what happens to the system. And so that's something we're continuing to work on and problem solve for. It's weird to say, but I'm tasking all of our executive team to make themselves replaceable in terms of build the systems and the infrastructure so you can hand it off. Safety is a great example of that. There's a bow wrapped on it, and Mars has done incredible work over the years and can hand safety off to someone else. Pat will have a year to hand off HR to Mars. So no, I feel really good about I have no worries about all these things I just communicated. It's other things I'm worrying about.
Gary.
Yeah, thanks, Casey. Well, I think we have an amazing administrative team, and I trust the team, the discussions you've had to create this strategic, flexible change plan. And I think that's kind of the world we live in here within our district, is recognizing change is going to happen. And I totally support having some sort of transition plan for people in our district that are doing a really good job, and we have a good transition plan if when they leave, and certainly earn that leaving position when they're ready, and having somebody else step in that's kind of been in a transition plan I think is very valuable. And if we need to change something in the future, we can do that. And I think that's kind of how you operate with these things, which I really appreciate. So it's not real rapid, abrupt changes. It's strategic changes and collaborating with people that are involved in those changes, which is real helpful. So I support our team and support this plan, and glad to continue to support that.
Sandy.
Well, I think tonight's meeting for me has been from a 50,000-foot level, a model at this level of administration, modeling for us and for the district what we believe that it needs to be. Is we need to be a district that change is the norm rather than stagnation. And even when we were talking about the boundaries tonight, you know, we did this, but now it's not the same as it was, so we need to pivot. And that's been kind of the theme tonight for me. And it's a really positive, you're being positive models for what you believe the district needs to be, which are, you know, having change being okay to do and pivoting. So thank you for that.
Thank you, everyone. We're good on board discussion? Are there any committee reports?
So the three top recommendations are that we need to continue to work on consistency in discipline reporting. Thank you. Should I start from the beginning or, okay. We need to continue to work on consistency in our discipline reporting measures. And, you know, discipline is not black and white. It would be a lot easier if it was, but it's not. And it's a very human process, and when we have so many schools working with students and every discipline situation, even though we have discipline codes, every discipline situation has its twists and turns. It's easy to lack some consistency. So that's something that we need to continue to work on. And one of the main reasons we need to do that is so that when we look at data, the meaning of it is more authentic. We need to build out tiered interventions for Tier 2 and Tier 3. And that is something that we are working on already and need to continue to work on. And then we need to focus on staff education about discipline and how to best address behaviors that would fall into where students need Tier 2 and Tier 3 support for behaviors.
Thank you. No more committee reports? Tanya?
Got to be part of that committee, and it was really an amazing example of the desire to create consistency across the buildings. And I think my favorite part was when one of the administrators was defending the statistics of another administrator's school. Just the knowledge and the know-how and the cooperation that came through was not something that was highlighted just now, but was so evident through that. The desire for everybody on that committee to be working together towards a common goal was really impressive.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on non-agenda items? Hit the button on the right, right in front, right more towards you. Yep, that one.
There we go. Cool, thanks. Okay, good evening, trustees and administrators. I'm Garrett Schultz. I'm here representing the Bozeman Varsity Baseball Initiative, mostly just because I love school board meetings is why I'm here. But no, thank you for the opportunity to provide public comment. I just wanted to give a really brief update on kind of what our group has been doing. If you guys remember, I think we were here in September, just talking about proportionality and participation between women and male sports, and our group is really concerned with adding high school baseball. I mean, that's where we got involved. Wanted to report that it's been a pleasure to work with Casey and the administrators. We have a meeting this week, actually. Feel like we're gaining traction as far as having a voice and being able to collaborate collectively towards our stated goal has been adding baseball in 2026. The reason I'm here, and really you're going to hear from somebody from our group probably at every meeting just to provide comment. We're only 15 months out. It's coming. We're 15 months out. You know, if we're going to be realistic about first practice, that's March of 26. It's coming. And so our group, we've talked to the City of Bozeman. We've talked to Legion baseball community. Many of us are involved in the youth baseball community already. We're having a lot of those conversations about fundraising. Like that's going to be a big one here real soon. One of Mr. Bertram's logistical implications is the fundraising of $100,000 or so of startup costs. We're really motivated to help get there. So we don't need to stay here late, and I don't have anything earth-shattering tonight. I just wanted it to be known that this is going to remain a really important issue for our group and for our community. I know you have many important issues in front of you guys, for sure. But this is one that our community is not going away on this one. And like I said, the collaboration's been great so far. We don't have any complaints. We just want to provide a consistent reminder that the community really wants this, and it's coming up. We don't have a ton of time, so we're very motivated to help get there. So that's what I have. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Any further comment, public comment on non-agenda items out there? Up next, 7.1, Executive Cabinet Report.
legislative breakfast, did you,
Yeah, we've got the legislative breakfast scheduled for this coming Wednesday morning at 7:30. We need to reconvene, I think administratively tomorrow morning, but at this point, we've got 7?
That's what I had.
What did I have? What did I say? Sorry.
7:30.
7:30.
I'm better with letters and words than numbers these days. We've only got 3 legislators who have RSVP'd in the affirmative right now, so we need to make a decision tomorrow morning pretty early about whether this is a go or not. We've got
we'll
12.
feed you regardless, Eric.
Yeah. So anyway, we need to make a decision pretty early tomorrow morning about how that's going to look, and we'll let you all know.
Thank you. Any further executive cabinet reports?
No.
Board of Trustee reports, item 7.2. Seeing no further comment, I will adjourn this meeting.